I'm joined with APA to talk a little bit about their time in Europe and expectations for Swiss stage and whatnot. APA, how has Berlin been treating you so far?
I've only been here for 3 days, I think. We were up in Amsterdam for a little over 2 weeks. But overall, it's like I really enjoyed the Amsterdam area. We were right outside like a market, and we could just walk pretty much everywhere we wanted. Grab a snack if we wanted to, grab some food. And yeah, just like whenever we would drive around for whatever reason, the like scenery in Amsterdam was really nice. I haven't really got to explore Berlin much. I've gone couple blocks here, a couple blocks there, but not really explored much.
Have you had any interactions with pro players at the hotel that you're in, or any like funny stories happen yet?
Um, no, not really. I mean, I've seen a whole bunch of pros, and you like say hello, but haven't really had any like sit down conversations and talk to whoever. So yeah, no funny stories as of yet.
Have you watched any cool shows? I know you guys were watching like what, Team Liquid TV. I saw there was a bunch of shows. Like, did you watch any of those shows? Do you have a favorite show out of all those?
Um, I still don't watch any shows. I don't have time for that. Sorry.
I mean the ones that you guys did for the trailer.
Oh, like yeah, we watched the trailer. Sorry, I don't understand the question then.
It was a joke, basically saying like because it was like a TV with a bunch of different channels. So I was like, "Oh, have you watched any of the stuff that you guys
Oh,
made?" Yeah. But yeah, let's just get into the Swiss. You guys drawed um LNG. LNG is like a
yes.
weird case because they don't are they fully practiced with Scout or not? Who knows? But how are you guys feeling having drawn LNG? Yeah.
Um, I think I don't think we would care necessarily too much about who we drawed. Um, we have I think like 5 days of prep time, which is a very long amount of prep time for a single team. So I think overall we weren't like too excited for one team. We weren't too like nervous about another team. We were just like, oh, we got LNG. That's cool. Guess we'll go prep for them now. And that's what pretty much we've been doing. I've watched a whole bunch of their VODs. Rainover has been putting a scouting preparation doc for them that we're gonna go over, I would imagine, soon. And yeah, I'm excited to face LNG. I think if we scout them well, I think we have a good solid read in the meta. We're doing solid in at least the Western scrims. We've got to scrim any of the Eastern teams yet because they've just arrived. Um, yeah, I'm excited going into Swiss.
I see what you did there. If we scout them well, um,
To be honest, I didn't even intend that.
all right. People have been talking a lot about Team Liquid, and there's like this whole. I don't think it's much of a debate. I think most people agree that you guys are a better team than FlyQuest, even though you guys lost. I do want to ask you about that, but before that, actually, a lot of people are worried about you specifically in this meta and saying like, "Oh, MSI meta was great for him, Tristana, Corki, like he plays these ADs really well." Um, this meta with like Oriana coming back and Hui being shown, like it's not necessarily what people expect of APA. Um, how are you feeling in this meta? And do you feel like there's much legitimacy to people being worried about you specifically in the mid lane?
Um, I think if people are worried about me, they just don't know me. Like I've always been, I've always just been the mage player. So it's kind of surprising that people are worried about specifically Oriana Syndra for me when, for the past 3, 4 years, those have been like exclusively like the mages that I like prefer, I guess. So I don't know why you'd be worried about that for me as a person. I think like the Yone example, like Yone is probably pretty strong in the meta. Um, I can understand more of that, but not the mages.
And I think mainly because we were like, oh, he plays them, but he's not too good. Like you look much better on Ziggs and Aurelion Sol than on Oriana Syndra. I think that's where that comes from. Um, but yeah, what's your thought of like Team Liquid's power level compared to? Do you feel like you're the best team in the West? Do you feel like you're better than FlyQuest? Do you feel like it's relatively close? How are you feeling with like the internal scrim so far?
Um, well, just to be honest, we haven't scrimmed any of the Eastern teams yet because well, they just haven't been in Europe, so it's hard to scrim them. um, but from all the teams we have scrimmed, we haven't been scrimming the NA teams. We've been scrimming all the European teams, even some of the European teams that aren't at Worlds are scrimming. Like for example, Vitality is scrimming. We've scrimmed them. Um, and then yeah, we scrimmed like pretty much all the playing teams I can think of right now. But I think we've been doing very, very well into all the playing teams, and then all the European teams we've done just very, very well into them. So like so far, I'm happy with how we're going. I think a big part of every international event is a lot of the time just Western teams get really tilted and like mentally explode. But I think our team meta, while it is a little bit stressed because we're still at Worlds, we're not. I don't think we're tilted at all.
It, maybe expand a little bit on the fact that Eastern teams haven't really scrimmed the Western teams. Is that a good or bad thing? Because I can see it's good from the like point of view that you don't get stomped in scrims and like lose all confidence and not know how to play. But it could, is it good in the fact that like maybe you guys have different metas and maybe you come up with a have a better reading of the meta, maybe you guys have a better like a worse reading on the meta. Yeah, could you expand a little bit on that?
It's definitely a bad team. I mean, they're just the best teams, and you don't get to scrim them. Sure, you can say that like our mental's good or yada yada yada, but like I think yeah, it just sucks. Like you don't get to scrim the best players in the world. You don't get to scrim the best teams in the world. Um, I'm sure it'll probably hurt us a little bit, but like yeah, I think overall it's just a bad thing because um, I don't word this. Sorry, thinking.
Oh, take your time.
It's hard to word. Overall, I would say it's a bad thing. It has some minor positives, but I wouldn't. I'm not too excited that we haven't scrimmed any of the Eastern teams.
All right. What should fans expect? I feel like this is the year where everyone's like, "Oh, this is the year the West can do it. Like we can make it to semis. Like at the very least, we should have at least one, if not two, Eastern teams, Western teams make it to quarters." I know you haven't like scrimmed the Eastern teams yet, but do you feel like maybe we're jumping the gun a little bit too early before we actually like get to face them at all, or is the hype and the excitement warranted?
Um, no, I don't think anyone's jumping the gun. I think even if it's like completely unrealistic, I think it's always just fun as a fan to have expectations, and then if they come crashing down, they come crashing down. But I've watched like any league for so long now, it feels like every year it's always been so like negative and pessimistic. So like it just feels good as a player who's on one of the teams going into this event to hear at least some positive sentiment going into the event.
All right, yeah, I never thought of it from the player's perspective on like what the fans are saying and how they feel. So I guess that is a positive, um, which is unfortunate because I'm about to talk about a negative in 100 Thieves not making out of play-ins and like looking worse than what we expected. Does that affect you guys in any way? Whether it's fan sentiment being like, "Oh, I knew NA was like trash the whole time," or just like not having as much faith. Does that put more pressure because now there's less NA teams? Like, how do you, as a compatriot but not the same team, like feel about that?
Um, I mean, it sucks because I know like Quiz specifically, but to be honest, I don't really care that they didn't do that well. It doesn't really add that much pressure to me. I think I'm only really caring about Team Liquid, and then if we end up bombing out, then I'll start caring about FlyQuest or G2 or Fnatic or Mad or any of the other. Actually, I think that's all the the Western teams. But for right now, I just care about Team Liquid. So while it does suck for Quid, I'm sure he's really bummed out. Um, I don't particularly care that they lost out.
Was there any part of you that wanted R7 to beat Pain Gaming for reasons?
Um, no, not really. I was just you know whoever the better team is will win, and then yeah. So I wasn't too pressed on if R7 or Summit won or lost.
All right. A couple more questions here. Any specific team besides T1? Because I feel like that's Team Liquid's like go-to answer now after meeting them so many times. But any team besides T1 that you like really want to face?
I think would be fun to face G2. Um, for the longest time, G2 has been considered like the best Western team, and Caps have been considered the best Western mid. So it'd be really fun to just be able to face G2 and see how we match up against them, and then past G2. I mean, just like the most obvious answer is like I'd like to face Gen G because they have Chovy. I'd like to face BOG because they have Knight. Um, yeah,
Is Team Liquid better than G2 right now?
from scrims, yes, but scrims don't translate to stage always.
All right, I know what I'm gonna clip out now. Um, last last question. How how have you guys been able to like move on from the tragic defeat? And like, I'm sure you think about it a little bit, but you're like, man, if we won that game four and or like if we didn't lose finals, basically, we'd be playing Gam, and now we have to play like the LNG. Um, how have you guys been able to move forward to that? Does it still sting? Like, how are you feeling about that?
I mean, I won't speak for my other teammates because to us I haven't really asked them, but I've pretty much moved on fully. I'm not really upset that I'm facing LNG instead of Gam. I think in the long run, if you're FlyQuest, you're still gonna have to beat these good Eastern teams to make top 8 or top 4 or whatever their goal is. So like, good chance we still face Gam or like a team from that pool 4 region, and then yeah, like if you want to do well at this tournament, you have to be able to beat these pool 3 teams. So I'm not too worried that we're facing them first and that they get a free matchup.
All right. I respect it. Like thinking that you're gonna have to beat them anyways. Unless you're NRG, then you don't. But yeah, thank you so much for the interview. Good luck. All of NA is basically behind you guys, so make us proud.
Of course. Thank you.